Let's get started. It's really good to see you guys coming back. And today, I say it's a turning point. So we have learned the basics of Java. And I know Alex, Aaron, and Eddie, you three are in our robotics club. And we use Java to develop ro robot movement. So we will talk about it. How can we use Java to develop applications? And Ryan, I know that you have very good skills about programming. So that's really good. So in our robotic club, we use Java. So we need to understand the Java, then we know how to develop a good robot. And the skills we need for robotic programming are very similar to the skills we are going to learn here. So that's why I think when you guys get to this level, then you just need a little bit more effort. Then you will be quickly uh, you will be quickly able to grasp the skills for robotic programming. So let me share my screen. I do not ask you guys to do introduction because I know all of you were in my class. Let me see. Share my screen now. So after we learn all the basics, so now we need to solve the real problem in the world. So how can we use Java to solve the problem, right? So that's the purpose. So you learn a programming language, you wanted to use it. And just like our robotic club, we wanted to make sure the robot can move and move the way we wanted to. So that is why we need to program it. And our robot is controlled using Android phones. So that is why we use Java, because Android support Java. So we use Java to develop our robotic applications. Here in the real world, there are two basic topics that all developers must know. All developers must know. If you don't know how to do this, you pretty much cannot do application because the companies, the government has they deal with data every day. They deal with the file every day. So that is why you need to know how to handle files. How do we handle the file, right? On your computer, you have so many files. What are they really look like? How can you use a program to do a file? Let's say you apply for an shopping store license, and you type in all the information on the website, and then the government reviewed it, and then they will issue you a license. And that license will have your company name on it, will have the address on it, and have an starting date on it. All those things are created by application, or we see by your code. So we need to know how to use Java to handle file. Okay. So let me ask you guys to take a look at this website first. So now from now on, what we are going to do is that what problem we face. what tools we have to help us solve the problem. So now we need to handle file. So let's see what tools Java has, or we see what libraries that Java has, and what can that library do. Here is the file class, the Java class is called a file. So what can that class do? Once I know what it can do, then I will be able to use it, right? So let me just give you this URL. Go ahead, spend the 5 minutes on it. So that will be the pattern in the future. And even when you do robotic programming, and the first thing you want to find is the library or the classes that the FTC provides or FTC uses. So then we just get them, and then we come here to see what it can do, okay? So I want you guys to quickly read through this website. And as I taught you before, when you come to read a class, file is a class, right? You see its parent is called object. And then file is in IO package, input output package, okay? So here will be the definition of the class. Okay, the extends objects. And it implements those two interfaces. Okay, so then you move on, you can see what fields it has. Fields are the properties, attributes. When you see fields here, they must be public. If they are not public, then it will not be exposed, right? The constructors. So what is the construct? The construct is for you to create a new instance of the class, right? And then the methods. We say the properties are the attributes or the state of the class. And the method or function are the behavior of the class. And let's see what we can do with the file class. You see, it has so many things in it, right? I do not expect you memorize all of them. I cannot. I need to come back to this website from time to time, need to get help from here, okay? So let me go to another one. So you guys keep reading this website and I will come back, give you just a quiet time so you can read it. All right, So stop here. So I want to come back. So you see here, this is the Java dog or the basic Java classes. And if you click frames, click on it, and then you see here are all the basic Java classes. When you develop an application, if you only use those classes, you can deploy it to any Java machines. It will run. You do not need anything else. You do not need anything else because they are all the basic Java classes. So why I ask you guys to do the robotic club if you are a developer? Because after you learn it, you have a new place to use it, right? And then after a while, you forgot it. You either go to do USICO, you go to the competition, like what we are doing right now. We have USICO classes. We teach students how to sharpen their skills and do different algorithms. Or you go to like a robotic club, so you use your Java. So you develop a Java application to drive the robot. And you see, these are all the basic Javas. Let me show you the robotic Javas. This FTC. You see, it's very similar, right? It give you all the packages, all the classes. Then you need to know, oh, what is access? What does access do? Okay. What does wheel do, right? So you just come to use it. You see, we use DC motor. Okay. We use this a lot. What is a DC motor? All right. So you see the file, the same thing. So when you get to this level, say you are independent, so you just need to gain more experience. You have the basic skills already. You just need more experience. You just need to do more things. So you will be able to develop a good application. So now let's focus on our class. So the file. So can you guys launch your Eclipse? So when you are launching your Eclipse, then I will talk about the file class. When you read that website, you may think a file is a file. Actually, it's not. So Aaron, can you help me read this paragraph?
One thing we need to keep in our mind is that file class is not just for file. It can also represent a directory or folder.
Very good. So a file can be either a file or a folder, okay? Or a folder. So today, the first thing we wanted to do is that, let's see what files do we have in a folder. How can I use Java to do it? Let's see what files do we have. So we will create a method to do it. We know how to create a method in Java, right? So I will ask you a question about this method. Also pay attention to the list method of the file class. You can go back to the website and find out what does this do. We will do that later on, okay? So go back to read the website, see what does this do. So let me give you the code first, okay? So this is a method I wrote. I give this to you, and you can put it into any classes you have in your Eclipse. For me, let me just do it here. STEM, this class. Let me just use it. All right, so let me put it in the very end of my class. So it's a method, right? So let me put it here. You see, this is my method, public void get files. So Ryan, so what does public mean and what does void mean?
Public means that it's accessible for like all the classes, and void means that I think it means that it doesn't return any value.
You're right. You are right on the target. So I created a method. This method called get files. I'm trying to get all the files in the folder. So I created a method like this. This method needs one parameter. What is the parameter? That's the folder name. Okay. So you need to tell me the folder name. And of course, the name is a string, so of type string. All right, with that method, let's see what does it do in this method. Okay, so in the method body, let me just in the method body, you see the first line we use this folder name you provide me to create a new file. We just mentioned the file can be a folder. So that means actually you create a folder, and that folder variable is dir. Okay, you see this is a file, actually it's a folder. So do not confuse yourself, okay? A file in Java can be a folder. So I create the folder. You see, let me come back to the website now. All right, so the first thing, you see, how can I create an instance of a file? You see we have 4 constructors. They are overloaded, right? They are overloaded function, and you can just use the string. Then you can get a file instance. So that's exactly what we did here. We use the folder name, we create a folder, and then you see what we got. We use this folder, or we see a file. I use its method called list. Now go back to the website and read what does list do. So let me come back to the website and find the method called list. All right, here is a list. Click on it. What does it do? Read it. Alex, can you help me just read this sentence?
Returns an array of strings naming the files and directories in the directory denoted by the abstract packed by.
Very good. So that means if you use this method of a file, you will get an array of all the files or subfolders under this folder. You will get all of them, and they will be stored in an array. All right, that helps us. So that's how it works here. So now this array will name it children. So because it's a string array, so let me come back to the website. You see, when you use list method, what does it return? It returns a string array. So that's exactly what we use here. It's a string here, right? So you name it children. So now you know it's an array, so you can look through it, right? You see here, you just check if children is now or not. If it's now, that means nothing is successful here. Okay, you do not get a forward. You do not get a forward, or that forward does not exist. If it's not now, if there's a single file then it's not null. Then you just loop through it. We know it how to loop through it in the area. That's our level 1, the level 2 class do, right? You just use a for loop, I equal to 0, I less than the children's length, then I increase I. So what does I do? I will just get the children's using index. So that's what it is stored, right? That will be the name. And come back to the website. It says return an array of strings naming the files. So that will be the name of all the files in that folder. Then I print it out one by one. All right, so it's very good. Okay, so I have this method. So now that what the only thing I need to do now, I go to my main method and then I run this one. Okay, I run it. So let me coming out all other codes, and then we just start here. Okay, looks good. So I coming out all these codes here, all right. Very good. All right, so let me just do this. So I create an instance of the STEM, my class. So I just needed to use its method I just created. My STEM dot get files. Okay, that's the function or the method I just did. So now let me just see what are in my folder. See, temp folder. Let me just try that. I put a 2 forward slashes because if you use 1 forward slash, we learned in Java, it is a special character. It's an escape character, right? So you need to put in a forward slash, then that means it will be 1 forward slash. You really want a forward slash here. So pretty much this tells the system, can you list all the files in my temp folder in C drive? Let me save my code, and now let me run it. You see, this is all the files and the subfolders, okay? So let me just go to my C temp. Go to my file explorer, and go to my C drive, and then let me open the temp folder. Okay, you see I have all those files there. As I have all the pictures and the other files. And do you see these files are here? These are all the files. So now you see you have power. If you write an application, if someone click on the button, then you can get all the file names of other people's computer if that guy give you the access. Dangerous. But before we go talking about dangerous, let me see if it works on your computer or not. Let me stop sharing. Who wants to volunteer to share yours? Nobody? Can I pick a U, ED? Can you share your screen to me?
So, I guess, but I haven't been able to use the method because trying to.
Let me take a look at it so I can help you.
Because I guess I could just use it here, but actually not
Oh.
here, but
Here. Okay, so you can use it here. So there are several things you need to have. Okay, that's good.
yeah,
You put that
that's-
file in. Yeah,
where's
you need to get the
the-
main method. The main method. Yes.
Yeah, okay.
Oh,
Uh,
very good. So now you just need to write code. Yeah, there. You have the idea. You can go ahead and do it. And you just need to create an instance. You use testing 3 here, right? You will see testing 3. Yes. And then the variable name you want to. Yeah. Do not use that variable because they are the same. That's a class name. Do not use it class name. You can make it like a lowercase t. Yes. And then the new test 3. That needed to be the capital case. Testing 3. Yep. Very good. Now you just use test dot and get files, right? And then you can give it a path name. Whatever path is available on your computer, you just try that. And if you do you have that folder? If you have that folder, you just need to use one backslash. Right? That's a backslash, just use one because you only forward slash you use 2. Okay. And then if that's a folder, you're good, save it and run it.
I think I have to
You have everything, right?
Yeah, no. I think I have to run. This is testing 3.
And you go to your file explorer. Go to your file explorer, see what folders you have. On the C drive, what folders you have. Just pick one. Yeah, you can work on it yourself,
Okay.
Eddie. So, Aaron, do you mind sharing your screen to me? Let me see if it works for you. All right. So you missed the 2 closing brackets braces. Yeah, put in one closing braces there.
Wait, where should I put it?
Braces. So it's curly bracket,
These
okay.
ones? Wait,
And
okay.
one more. You need to do one more.
Here.
Okay. So let me take a look. So can you scroll down? Maybe you do have other code down. Yeah.
I
That's
just
why.
have a bunch of old stuff here.
Yeah. That's why you don't need it. Just put it one. Yeah.
Right here. Okay.
Okay. So you scroll up. Let me take a look at it.
I'll just have this here.
Yeah, you have that. Okay. So now you probably already have the braces, have all the braces. Can you just
Yeah.
remove the one? Remove the one I just asked you to put it there.
All right.
Okay, you're good. Can you run it now? Try it. Save your code, run it. Cool.
Yeah.
Can you go to your file explorer, check it in the temp folder, see if you only have 2 files or not.
Where is temp?
system C drive.
Okay, C. Yeah, it only has 2.
Good. Okay, you can try different folder. So let me check it. ED. Do you mind to share yours? So Erin, thank you.
So not there yet.
You still not there? Let me take a look at yours, Eddie. Okay, ED job. Oh, okay. You're going to the system folder. So you see the power, right? You can read the files. Very good. So Ryan. That's the work for you, Ryan. That will also be a lot. Yes, very good. So Alex, do you mind? Alex, if you are not ready, you can let me know. Okay, good. Go ahead. Let me just take a look at it. Do not worry about that. So let me just take a look at your code here. That should be fine. And let me see. Can you remove the code? Remove the code in 914. You don't need it. All right. 914. 14. You don't need that. Okay. All right. Let me say AOE STEM 11. Thin AOE STEM 11. Okay. In the end of 14, put a parenthesis. A parenthesis. Yeah. Put it there. You're good enough. Thing get files. Very good. So run it. Save your code and run it. Oh, you're good. Do you get all the files? Do you have that folder? Oh, I see the problem. When you use backslash, just use one. So this is the forward slash or backslash. I don't know. Can you tell me? What do you guys call it? If you use that slash, you need 2. Yeah, this you just need 1. Run it, save it, and run it. Can you save your code? Okay, do you have any files in that folder, or do you have that folder? If you have that folder, what?
Should I change it to a folder I have?
So you have this folder, right?
I don't.
You do not, so that's why it cannot find it. So can you try folder it exists in your Windows Explorer? Try that, and then you will see it works for you. So does this make sense to you? So you follow along, right? You see it has power. So let me move on. All right, so we finished the one. What we used, we only used one method that is called list. The files list method. It give me all the files in that folder. Now I have the method. How can I use it? So we already tried that. Okay. So now let me go to the next one. So I want you to try different fold and see the result. Do you feel the power? That you now have the ability to crawl a fold and get all the items in that fold files and the first level subfolders. It does not go to the files in the subfolders, but it gets the name of the subfolder. So can you find out how all the files in the folder, including those in all subfolders? Okay. Can you guys think about this? Can we find out all files in a folder? including those in all subfolders. All right, so you go back to the website, take a look at this method, list files. What does that do? All right, come back to this method called list files. So let me go to the beginning. So you see if this is overloaded or not. I want you guys to pay attention to it. You see list files. So let's click on list files. See what does it do. So AD, I want you to read this sentence.
Returns an array of abstract path names denoting the files in the directory denoted by this abstract path name.
Okay. Do you see the difference between this one and the one here, list? And if you see it, can you tell me? Let me ask another student. So anyone see the difference? List, what you get? List of files, what do you get? So what are the difference? I want you guys to read those two, compare text by text, word by word, and then tell me what difference there are. Okay. So, Erin, what are the differences?
I'm not really sure.
All right, that's a good answer. Okay, so Ryan, do you see the difference?
I think that for the get files, it's more shallow, while list files goes deeper.
Okay, so the big difference is that now, okay, let me show you. So here, what you got actually is an array of files. It is in a file object. Here, you see what you get only is the name of it. The name is a string. What you wanted to handle is that it could be in subfolder. So if it's a subfolder, then you need to go down to that subfolder. So what you really wanted to get is a file. If it's a file, okay, let me go up. There's a method that can tell me if it's a directory or not. If it's a directory, this will return true. If it's a file, this will return true. So this, when you say it's a file, it really means if it's a file or not a file. It's a directory, it really means if it's a folder or not. So with that, if I got it, and then if it's in the directory, I just need to call this function again. So I can get all the files in the subfolder, right? So now let me move to my next slide. Okay, so if you get a file, then you can get the name, you print it out. You can also get the absolute path, and you can print it out. So combining this knowledge and the recursive function will load, we can get all files in the folders, including items in subfolder. Okay, what does it mean? Let me give you the code. Yeah. You see, I improved my function get files. So let me show you what are the difference. Let me give you this code. All right, so you have that one. So for me, let me just scroll down to the bottom. I replace the old function or the old method with this one. So let's see what we do here. In this method, you still just need to tell me which folder you want to look into. And this time, I also still need to use that folder name to create a directory. And then now you see, I do not use list. I use list files. So then I can get in the file area. So if the file area is not null, so what do? I just create a string called file name. Okay, called file name. Now I'm looping through it. So for I equal to 0, I less than the children's length. Then I plus plus. In the future, I even will not read it. I will just ask you, I will just tell you, I loop through it. So I loop through the area. You see the first thing I got the first file. Once I got it, I then I check if this is a directory or not. If it's a folder or not. If it is a folder, then you see what I got. I use file name equal to children. That exactly means this file. Okay, you can just use this file here. All right. So this file, and then you get the absolute path. This absolute path will be another folder name, right? So you just call yourself again, get files. You just use this folder name. So this is a recursive call. It is a recursive call. So this will go down to the last layer of your folder structure. They will get all the files in all folders under this specific folder, right? So if it's a folder, then you go to call this function again. If not, what do you do? What do? You just assign it to that. Assign the name to the file name, and then you print it out. You print out this file name. Okay? Print out the file name. All right. So here now, okay, this is the loop. It will go loop through everything in the children. Okay. This tells us if it's a folder, it's a subfolder, then you call this function again. So you recursively call until you get to the deepest layer. The deepest layer, the deepest folder. So now let me go back. So this time I really wanted to use a different folder. Let me just use a D drive. Okay. Oh, I think for me it's E drive. So let me check my E drive, see if I have subfolders. E drives temp. Let me say, okay, I do have subfolders here. So this time it will give me all the files in the subfolders and this folder. So it will be a lot. So let me just run it. Let me save the code and run it. You see, the long list you see here. When you get a folder, this is the folder, okay? So it will go to loop through it. You see how many files I got. Can you guys run this? Make sure it works. And you guys go ahead and do it. And then I will check if 2 students work. Give you 2 more minutes. Okay, so who wants to volunteer? Nobody? What? Then let me call. So can I get a Ryan? Yeah, there are a lot. Very good. Okay, so how about you, Erin? That's work for you. Oh, cool. Very good work. Thanks. So do you guys have any question? Do you guys have any question? Do you understand? You see, we only used a very small subset of the methods of the file class. We use the list. We use the list of files. List and the list of files are different. We use get name, so you get the file name. We use the get absolute path. So that will give you the full path to this specific file or folder. And then we use the two more method. It's a file, it's the directory. That will check if the file object is a physical file. I should not say physical, okay? It's just an abstract. So if it's physical, it's physical. If it's not, that's okay. Right? That can be okay, even it's abstract file name exist in the memory. Okay, it's in a folder or file. So we only learn a very small subset of the file class, but we see the power. Now we did not do anything on file itself. File is provided by the Java developers who invented Java. They developed it, we just use it. If we read the class, we know its properties, attributes, and its methods, and we use it, and then we get the job done. So now you understand, as a developer, you don't have to do everything yourself. If there's a library there, if there's a tool there, and if you have the documentation about that library, that tool, then you can try it. You can import it. So now let me just share my screen again. So now I want to come back to your class. You see here, of course, I imported a lot of other stuffs because I use this class to do other classes. So you see, what you need to do is just need to import this file class into your code. Then you can use it. All right? So you can use all the methods this class has. And then you use this method and then you understand what does this method do. What does this method do? So you just come to read its document. So it tells me what it does. So I will see if this behavior fits my need or not. If it fits, good, I will use it. So that's how a developer does. So then you say, if we do robotic programming, so in our club, if you do the robotic programming, you will say, okay, I need to control the wheel. Okay, so then I see motor, different motors. Okay, so I need to just use the DC motor. I see what it provides to me. You see, you can set the power, right? And then the value is higher, then the wheel runs fast, right? So this is what you need to read. And then you will see, come to see other things, what I can use, right? A servo. So how can I do a servo, right? So you see, here's a servo, right? So that's how a Java developer works. How do we use it? All right, so this is the first class, and because I know you all, so we did not do the introduction. And I really want you guys, you are in the robotic club, so you use this class, help you understand the Java development. Even if you do not develop the robotic application for your team, but you will be very helpful because you understand Java, you know how to develop it. So this will help you to remember what does that code mean. So when the developer in your team writes that application, someday you can go to modify it and you can find the improvement of it, because what they did is just a Java application. So I hope this will help you. And I will make this exercise your homework. So now let's just review this exercise. So I ask you to write a method that accepts the directory and return an array of all files, 4 paths with 4 file names. There should be no folders in the return. It's not a folder. It must be all files, okay? Combining this knowledge and the recursive function, we can get all files and folders, including items in the subfolder, right? So I want you guys to do this. You return all files, not folders, right? And think about that. Actually, it should be very simple, very straightforward. Okay. All right. So does this homework make sense to you? You just need to write a method. Actually, I already write that method 95%. You just need to do a little bit of change to it. All right. Okay. So I think my class stops here. And then I will give you the homework. Hopefully you guys can finish it. And let me return the class back to Miss He. Let me stop recording.